Right, I was informed my crab so con over possible TVGH. In the kinds way a news updates needed ever so.
Over the period I've been observing him, and indeed if he says he's not a politician, he's not lying. You understand? He's not lying. Mr. Dubai is not a politician.
Yeah, you don't have to be a politician.
You don't have to be a politician to be appointed to government. Yeah. You know, and in Ghana we think that everybody that holds public office or political office
by necessity is a politician.
No, Mr. Dubai is not a politician. He is not. He's not wrong. And I've been doing MPP more than half of my life. At least in the last 20 years of my short life, I've been doing active MPP.
Point of order.
I have never seen him.
Point of order.
Oh,
Dennis.
in Parliament.
Dennis, define politician.
Well, so I'm glad you want me to define it.
Yeah,
so that'll be my definition.
No. Let's get the definition of it.
No, my definition. Let me give you my definition.
I don't want your definition.
Okay, which reference? Which source do you want me to source?
Dictionary. What does it? Who's a politician?
No, so I think the point
so that we can get it into context.
Yes, and I think the point that he's trying to make, and which is something that I can
understand. A person
understand.
who is professionally involved in politics, especially as a holder of an elected office. He's not an elected office. He's not in an elected office. He's not a holder of elected office.
Who elected the president?
Oh, please.
No. Who elected the president? Who nominated him?
No. Lawyer, you've been answered.
Please.
A politician is here. The definition is here verbatim. The
Holding an elected office.
It says that
who
a person, please.
Nominated?
Oh, please. I mean, please.
That's what I was saying.
A person who is professionally involved in
Go
politics,
ahead.
especially as a holder of an elected office.
Go ahead.
He is not in an elected
we
position.
beg to differ.
And no, you said I should define after definition. Now you want to have your own. Okay.
Yes, when your time comes, we'll
exactly
give you the opportunity.
I have never, until 2017, when Mr. Dubai was appointed, never seen him in any political space in all of the political environment, and never seen him say he's vying for any position or he's holding any appointed position in our party or in any political party. I've never seen him profess anything partisan or political anywhere. So he's not a politician.
But he's a holder of a political office.
Yeah, but not an elected political office.
Okay,
that is
all
the
right.
definition.
That's
we
fine.
can't run away from it.
That distinction is fine. That it's not elected, but
you are
it's
a politician when you hold.
Let's not belabor. Wait, let's not belabor the point. Let's go
put
to
in there.
So he's not.
Yeah,
he's not. And then again, we can't pretend. It is erroneous for anybody to think that once you hold a political office, you're a politician. So if I'm appointed, or if you are appointed as an ambassador to the US, when probably you were a lecturer sitting or somewhere, then all of a sudden, because immediately you are appointed as an ambassador, you become a politician. It's probably some confusion we've created for ourselves. Again, if I watch the video and I watch it critically, you'd realize that Mr. Dubois did not request or ask for any money from anybody in order to do anything. Mr. Dubois was offered money for shopping. You can decide to extend it, to connect it to anything, but as it stands now, there is no evidence to show that whatever conversation he had with them at that point translated into anything. And for which reason you would say that the shopping money was given as any effect on anything. And you know, I always say on a lot of platforms that in this country, a lot of our lives that we live now is informed by our values, and they are coded, so we don't realize. But immediately you are born, it begins to code into your subconscious mind, and you live a certain life in that area. For example, bribery and corruption, it starts from birth, and it starts from the palace, and it starts from our culture and values. You don't come to the chief palace with an empty hand. Or whatever you bring to the chief palace doesn't leave. I cannot come to your house without, so we travel, we are coming, we have to buy bread. When you come, whether you have money or not, you must show that you have bread. Those things are coded. You don't realize. To the extent that, in Ghana, it's offensive if you offer somebody a gift and somebody offers you a gift and you don't take it. You know that.
Some places, yeah.
So a lot of people actually have challenges and difficulties even refusing gifts. It is. I feel very bad, I personally. Okay? I say, hey, I'm a man, also.
Yeah, but if you are in a particular office,
I am just making a point.
Okay.
I'm just making a point. That notwithstanding, you are a minister for finance, and immediately you hold that position, you must be conscious of of yourself
Yeah.
at all times. And you must always be aware that there are people who would always want to bring you down, whether deliberate or whatever it is. And so it is up to you to fight it off. I always tell people that for me, immediately I enter a political office, I assume I have left the office. And that is why me in 2020, when the president relieved me of my position, I never complained to anybody. Because it's a political appointment. The day you enter is the day you leave. And so you must know that these things are always around you. It's up to you to overcome it.
Yeah.
If you fall in it, you have to take the fall. And that is why I think the president's decision on Mr. Charles Edibuoye was quite decisive. And there's no other way to describe it. You'd realize that one of the things people don't realize is, for the president, anytime such things have come up with clear-cut evidence of compromise, he immediately takes the decision. I mean, the time announced the Galamsey, the actual Galamsey investigation, realized that immediately came up. Mr. Charles BC was asked to step aside, investigation commenced, and blah, 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 So it was quite decisive. It was quite straight to the point. For me, there was no question about it. The president is not saying Mr. Dubai is guilty of anything. He's basically saying that you've been found in a compromised situation and you must be investigated. It's as simple as that. At this point, we cannot call any judgment on him yet until the Office of the Special Prosecution completes his job. But I'm very sad for him. Extremely sad for Mr. Dubois. And I don't wish this on anybody at all. And when I hear politicians try to chastise him, I look at them and I laugh. Because you see, if the camera should be put on all of them to be walking around and moving around, we'll probably be left with only the pastors leading our country. It is very important that when you see a man fall, you learn, you don't laugh. Especially men like Mr. Charles Edibuoye, who just offered themselves to serve the nation, not because they are politicians, but because they are professionals and have the skills to provide some sort of support for us. I think it's an unfortunate situation, but he has to live with it, and he has to bear the cross. And we all have to learn from it and be guided. You know, when those of us who hold political office, when people come to our offices and you tell them to leave their phones outside, you tell them to go through some screening, and then they go out there and they are bad-mouthing you and they are calling you names. They will go and say, and when you go to his office, there will be some secretary there. The secretary will say, I would prefer I do that than go through this. Because I keep saying, private conversations, things are said. People say things in private conversations that they usually even have no plans of executing it. And so, if you are to record all of us here in our raw state, in our raw form, there will be nobody left for us. Because so many things inform the kind of conversations that we have in our closets. And I don't think any human being should be recorded without his knowledge in such a form. If it happens, watch.
But isn't it the case of it's you, like you are in a political office, and I mean, like you rightly pointed out earlier on, that once you get into a political office, you need to understand that it's not necessarily everybody that wants you to succeed. People may want to set you up and all those kinds of things. But there's this argument that if you are not by nature corrupt, and that's what you're alluding to, that in our private moments or even right from birth and our socialization and everything, it's a fine line. So the argument is that why would you, if that is not something that you do, regardless of whether you're being recorded secretly or not, you shouldn't be caught in any compromising position.
You know what I meant by when you are in your closets. People, what they call yobbing. You know, people yob.
Yeah.
People say things. Yes, when we are having conversations, people say things.
Yeah.
Sometimes they even can see straight away that what you are even asking them to do cannot materialize.
Yeah.
But they say things to excite you, so they leave. It happens. I am not holding forth for anybody.
Yeah.
I am only saying that for me, I think private conversations like this, especially those that have not materialized, I would want to say it, actually happen. Then I'll say you are guilty of it. But talk for me, I always say it's just air. And it's very difficult for you to really judge people on things they say.
But how then do you juxtapose that with, for instance, the issue with the judges, where there may not have been any clear-cut
They delivered the
evidence?
judgment, though.
Yes,
You know,
but
if
then
you watch
what
it-
shows? Yeah, but what shows that?
Yeah,
it
but
was
they delivered the
because
judgment. At least there was an
there
out.
was an out. Yes, but then
That's my point.
But then, can we say conclusively that, for instance, you bringing a good or an amount
There's
of
a
money
connection, Doc.
is what led to a particular?
At least there's a connection. That for me, I think there's a connection. Okay, like the Ghana Port one. You see the person take the money and do something for you. Yeah, I mean that's the point I want this whole thing to get to, and I think that moving forward now should begin to follow through some of these things before showing the video. If you gave the person money, the person says you will do A, B, C, D, maybe continue, and let's see results. You know, but as for Yobbins and like the things that he said about the VIP and
We'll get.
those
to
are all
that, yeah.
peddling. Those are things that people say. Like me, like why now that I'm here in the studio with Dr. Antoinette, I step out and then some people meet. Oh, doc, me now. Oh, doc there. Don't say me no answers. Doc there. Open there. Okay. Oh no, don't worry. I'll talk to doc and I'll get back to you. Then I get back and say, I spoke to doc, but these things the way they work.
Meanwhile, you've not even spoken.
I'm not speaking to doc. It happens all the time. Even those of us who are low-hanging politicians, people around us do it all the time. They do it all the time. So it's a very complex situation. But like I said, the fall has happened. There is absolutely nothing that Mr. Dubois can do about this.
Is there any way back for him?
No, there isn't. The court of public opinion is so powerful that even how many cases haven't been referred to the CID and OSP, and still the people walk around with the thing around them.
Even when you are cleared.
Even when you are cleared. Even when it is obvious that you haven't done anything wrong, it still hangs around you. And that's why I say, when those of us who are in this space, we should not laugh. We should learn and pray. Because these things, it is just grace. It is just grace. Remember when then Mr. Akufo-Addo was candidate?
Yes.
And they were altering videos and editing videos of him touching, they have edited it, they have video shop it, and then
GBC, I think. Yeah.
How many years did it take for people to actually even come to agree and admit that it isn't real? So once it's hanged around you, it becomes difficult. It is like we find ourselves in a sector or an industry where all it takes is for lawyer Jantua to accuse me or for me to accuse him. It doesn't matter whether it is true or not. Once you are accused, that is it. And usually, the people who listen to us this morning may not be listening to us tomorrow. So if I accuse you now, those people are gone.
Yeah.
They may never hear your side. Yeah. And they walk around with that mindset. So I only pray for myself, for all my colleague politicians like Lawyer Jantua and co, and say, may God lead our path. May God guide us. May God give us grace, because you may never know.
And then you forgot to add to it that in our time it was newspaper.
Yes.
And telephone, probably.
Yes.
And now there's-
He said you must be aware that gone are the days where somebody has seen you do the thing, but nobody will hear. Today, whilst you are in the act, very soon we won't be lucky. They will be doing live Facebook. And us may start doing live Facebook whilst he's recording you. And so we just have to pray for grace. Because my last point, look, you know that usually these things, Anas doesn't just get up and come to you. If Anas wants Dr. Antoinette, he's looking for me. That he knows Dr. Antoinette trusts. And then Dr. Antoinette will open up and have any form of unguided conversation with me. So all the people I know who have fallen in this Anas thing, they will always tell you that, Miracles, this guy was there, he's my guy. So the guy will come and say, I know Lawyer Jantua, he's my guy, we've been friends together for a very long time. So before you finally get to meet this so-called businessman, somebody has come to prepare the way. Yeah. And that person has created an environment
of trust.
And so you speak and speak anyhow and speak freely.
And boast.
Only for you to realize that your friend sometimes was even a victim himself. He probably has gone to take the middleman arrangement. So he's actually the corrupt one. Unfortunately, they never get to be on the video. Unfortunately, those people, why? Are we saying that those Arabians, they called Mr. Dubois directly? No. Before Mr. Dubois would have gone into the Arab world and have a meeting, there must be somebody that these Arabs went through. But they never come on video. Unfortunately, they are the real corrupt ones. Because sometimes trust may lead you to do so many things. Trust is the only, I don't know why this morning I'm trying to use relationship. Yeah, trust is the only reason why a young girl will sell the father's property for the boyfriend to travel abroad. Trust. And then later, she'll be heartbroken. Trust. So trust can lead you to do so many things. But I feel sorry for him. And like I said, may God guide us. May God protect us. May God be the light on our path. Because you may never know.
Are you a Methodist or a Presbyterian?
I'm a pure Methodist.
I could tell. All right, Uncle John, Dennis is saying, Dennis has been...
Point. Look, if a politically exposed person uses his position, you understand, to engage in corrupt acts, there's a difference between claiming that the vice president uses his position to demand 200,000. Why don't you do follow-up? Go the full haul. Because we've seen those when we looked at the FIFA, and it's not as if we don't have standards. You see, sometimes let us not pretend as if there is not best practice. There's best practice out there. There's FIFA investigations. The journalists, yes, they got the videos, but you see, they don't just go in and then just create the scenario. It is not about, they go the full haul. They make sure that they go out there, they take you on, they go to the next step. Without the final piece of evidence, what the person has said, he has said. If speaking is a crime, then our law should prescribe that when I sit somewhere and I say that, oh, I have access to the vice president, I have access. Miracle works in the office of the president. So if I see Miracle and I say, Miracle, look, I'm bringing an investor. I'm bringing an investor. You understand? And Miracle cuts his own private contract with me. I said, okay, when I take you to the person, remember me, Charlie, my 10% is inside. If that conduct is prohibited by the code of conduct of presidential staffers, and Miracle engages in that, and I pose as a journalist, and I go all the way, and indeed, he's able to take me to the vice president's place. Vice president actually collects the money. I have the video. That one I will consider to be proper journalistic work. But somebody is there. He innocently engages in a business discussion. And then when he's leaving, you put money down on the table, you understand, and say that, oh, use it as a gift. And then we all jump and start screaming, oh, it is corruption, it is corruption, it is corruption. Now, when it starts to bite the political elite, you see the way we are all now seeing that this thing is, I've been saying that if you're not careful, one day, cabinet secrets of the state that will actually compromise national security will be brought out in the name of private investigations. Because it is journalism for pay.
But
it is not journalism.
Don't you think that Edubwane himself, when he got into the room, they pushed 20% on his neck